Thank you for tuning into Getting to the Root with Tracy Palmer podcast. Here, we are going to discuss topics and issues that will help you become the best version of who you are. Our goal is to give you encouragement and information that will help you execute your God-given vision. We are so excited you tuned in and hope you enjoy the show. Hey. Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneur Talk. You know who it is. It's your girl, Tracy Palmer. And listen, I am excited to be with you once again. Why am I excited? Because this is another hot one. Why do I always say that? When we got special guests like this. Listen. Oh my gosh, I am so excited that we are doing this on this evening. Whenever you tuned in for my live audience, thank you for joining. Yeah, no, I'm always off and never have things going like I'm supposed to. All right. Thank you for joining in with us. If you are tuned in, please share. My live audience, of course, if you're listening to the podcast or the replay or whatnot, make sure you get the word out because we got a great subject, a great topic on tonight or whenever you listen to it. I have a special guest that I just met. Was it last year? I believe.
Towards the end of last year.
End of last year, by chance, for a whole nother reason. We met for a whole nother reason and then got connected, and we believe it's a God connection all day long. And so I'm okay. So I talked about the name. I said I mess up people's names on my show all the time, but we're gonna welcome Brandize Yerima. I try to overthink it. Yerima. Girl, if you don't say it, say it
Yerima.
for me. Yerima.
Yes.
I think because I told myself I was going to mess it up. I messed it up. So anyway, tonight, we have her on the show. Thank you all for tuning in and watching. I see you up. I see you guys throw the hearts up and the likes. Thank you. I'm going to put her information up because we want you to be able to get in contact with her. But you know what? I don't want to keep talking like I love to do. We want to go ahead and give her the floor to, first of all, just tell us a little bit about herself. But like I said, we're in our episode 11 right now of Entrepreneur Talk. And you know that for months or weeks, we have been talking about authors. And then, last time I had my husband on here that was cutting up, but we talked he did talk about mindset and talking about first things first. And it's funny that when she told me the subject or the area that she wanted to cover, I said, it's just a perfect flow from where it's just like it adds that extra layer. So we're going to talk about changing the way you think to produce what you want to see. Come on, y'all. This is a good one. It's a good one. So I'm going to let her first go ahead and tell you a little bit about herself, to her little accolades out there, whatever she wants to do to hype herself up, to let us know who she is.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Tracy, for having me on your show. My name again is Brandize Yerima, and I am a lady of many hats. However, one thing that I really pride myself in is being a kingdom strategist. I love, and what I mean, that defined is simple, is just helping people build strategy in order to manifest what they want to see inside of their kingdom assignment. So that would be Christian entrepreneurs, Christian leaders, what have you. Also, I'm a business coach. You don't necessarily have to be a Christian for me to coach you, but my focus is on coaching you right into your purpose and where you want to be. And humbly, I am also a pastor, and I sit under my general overseer, who is Pastor Mustafa Raji, Wonders Chapel of Canada. So let's just keep it simple, and they'll learn a little bit more about me as we go along.
That's awesome. So that's exciting. So yeah, I want to jump right into it because I don't want to waste any time. I want us to get this going. I want us to flow with this and just talk about it. So change the way you think to produce what you want to see. The title alone has so much weight
Yeah.
because when we think about when we want better, when we want different, when we want something else, we forget that it starts in the mind. A
Yes.
lot of times we think that it starts in the action, but the problem is when we try to do actions without changing our mind, we're not able to do it. We'll fall off. It's like you'll start off like, oh, I'm gonna do this and this and this. But if your mindset, and I don't want to go into it too much because I want to step on anything you gotta say, but because it's an easy thing, it's an easy flow because this is something that I love talking about is the mind, really getting
Yes.
people to get that mind together. So when she gave me her list of just kind of points, I was like, ooh, this is going to be good. So I want to just go ahead and walk us through that. So her first point was in order to be able to do this, number one, she says, you have to look introspectively. Look
Absolutely.
introspectively. Go ahead. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, one thing I always like to use biblical principles inside of what I do. Everything that you want to do, all the success that you want to have, those principles are right there in the Bible, period. And when I say look introspectively, one of the things that I had to identify in my life is that change never happens outside of you.
Mm,
It just never happens outside of you. You always have to look inside of you to see what is delaying you. What is the problem? And so for me, myself, as I was transitioning to the next phase of my life, I had to look inside myself and ask myself, one, where is it that I want to be? Am I okay with where I am right now?
mm.
These were questions that I had to ask myself. And in order for me to get up out of that, I had to and so one thing that I identified is what's here in your heart. But before it ever drops in your heart, it starts in your mind. But if you dwell on it and meditate on it too long, it goes into the laboratory of your heart. And then out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth begins to speak. And then you manifest what you had been thinking all along. So
Mm.
Proverbs 23:7 was a guide of mine. As a man thinketh, so is he. So I had to change the way that I thought while looking introspectively.
Wow. Wow. That was rich right there all by itself.
Yeah.
Right there, right there. So now we want to dig a little deeper. So first of all, you got to look inside yourself. You got to start there. You got
Yeah.
to make real choices. Like what? How am I processing life? How am I
Yeah.
processing things around me? How am I doing things? How am I shifting things? How am I? What am I really doing? Because sometimes you got to sit down and just kind of think. Like, hold
Yeah.
on, before I do any actions, I got to make sure that the way that I see things is proper. All right, that's good. So
Absolutely.
next, pay it number two. Now she got me on this one too. Pay attention to where you want to be and keep your eyes on that only. Ooh, ouch. Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
ooh.
Keep
Pay
your
attention
eyes on that only.
where.
Yeah.
Where? It's like, first of all, you got to see where you want to be. You got to see where you're going, but then you got to stay fixed. Come on now. I know you got some good stuff for us on that one.
Well, one of the stories that I tell all the time is the story about when I left my hometown. So I'm originally from Topeka, Kansas, which is the capital of Kansas. I usually tell people Kansas City because they don't know where Topeka is. But anyway, but I remember when I had to make this decision to leave. And when I finally came to Indianapolis and we got settled, I kept on thinking about, because I love shoes. And so I kept on thinking about how I left a pair of boots, a pair
Mm,
of boots. And it was stressing me, this pair of boots I left behind. And then I kept on remembering what I used to be, what I used to have, and all of these types of things. And what it was doing was keeping me locked in my past. So I
Mm,
move forward to where I was supposed to be, or where I was supposed to go, or where God wanted to take me, because I kept on looking back. It's kind of like that person who did something great in their life, and then they never did anything great again, but they always talk about that great moment. This was kind of the place that I was, because now I was in a new environment, and that new environment wasn't serving me like my old environment. So I stayed
mm,
stuck good minute until I came to the realization that what Philippians 3:14, pressing toward the mark of the prize of the high calling. So that was kind of my scripture that really pulled me out of that rut, because I realized, in as long as I was looking behind me, I couldn't see what was ahead of me. Some would say, as long as you're focused on the rear view mirror, you can't see the big vision that's in front of you. So you couldn't see your purpose. So you definitely have to pay attention to where you're going, or where you want to be, and stay focused on that. So where you want to be is the vision first. Now what you're
mhm.
going to do with it after you have it.
Hmm. Hmm. That old boot story.
Yeah.
That old boot story. It's amazing how one thing can keep us tied to our past.
One thing. Yeah.
It could just be one thing that keeps. I felt that one. It could be just one thing
One.
that keeps us tied to our past.
Yes.
The one thing that we can't bring with us somehow keeps us bound to our past.
That's
You
it.
left and you stressed about a pair of boots,
A pair of boots.
which kept you from moving forward. That
Yeah.
one thing, because it's whatever reason, your mind just kept reflecting on, man, I love them boots. Man, I'm probably never find another one like it.
Yeah.
Man, what am I going to do without them boots? Man, and that may sound silly to somebody, but what is your pair of boots? That's the question. What
Yeah.
is your pair of boots?
Yes. Yeah.
What is your one accomplishment that you keep dwelling on that won't let you make the next accomplishment? Come
Absolutely.
on now.
Absolutely.
Listen. So, and I'm trying not to jump into the second half already because I got questions already. So let me stop. Because you try to keep it cool with me. I asked you to do that, and I want to jump the gun and mess this whole thing up. Okay, so because it's gonna get good in the second half.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
um, Number three. So that was good because you gotta first of all know where you're going. No, let me see. We got a good comment from my spiritual daughter. Thank you. She said, glad I tuned in, and yes, this is good.
All right. All
Thank
right.
you for tuning in. Um, you gotta know where you want to be and keep your eyes on that only. It's something about the word that, like that
Yes. That
only. Keep
only.
your eyes on that only. I want y'all now, mind you, I want to say this disclaimer. This is entrepreneur talk. Okay. So y'all already know something about to happen, right? So we laying a foundation right now. So just buckle up because we about to go ahead and take off in a minute. Okay, just stay tuned. Number three. So she had one more point. This word is a word that likes to haunt us. Because, see, you said in number two to pay attention.
Yeah. Pay attention.
Now, this next one is focus.
Yeah.
See,
Mhm.
pay attention. Now you're like focus. Focus is something different because focus is like when
Totally.
you're glad when you're trying on new glasses or contacts, and your eyes are trying to adjust to the new prescription, and
Mhm.
they're focusing. You said rid yourself of hindrances and distractions. Rid yourself of hindrances and distractions. I ain't even got nothing to say. Go ahead. Come on. Come on with this
Yeah,
one. Come on.
it's so true. Paying attention and focus, definitely. You hit it on the nail, Tracy, that it is two different things. I can call your name and you can look my direction and still not be focused on what I'm saying
Come
or what
on.
I'm thinking. I mean, and we do this all the time. We do this in normal conversation and just in everything that we do all the time. We either pay attention or we really focus it. But when you're focused on something,
Mm-hmm.
for somebody can call your name 2 and 3 times and you not answer because your focus is really centered on whatever you are attending to in that moment, right? So when you make a decision to walk into your purpose, or to go another direction than what you're familiar with, it does require you to rid yourself of distractions and hindrances. And those distractions and hindrances can even be your family members. So that was one thing that I knew I had to make a decision. When it was time for me to transition into this new place, all I knew was that I was going somewhere, and then God was going to have to fill in those blanks for me as I went, right? And so that meant that I had to sacrifice some relationships. So even when we moved here to Indianapolis, that was myself and my daughter at the time, I left my family. I left my friends. In fact, I didn't have any family or friends where I was moving, right here to Indianapolis, no family or no friends, so that I could get focused. Because as long as I was around family or friends, if they had a need, if something happened, I was Johnny on the spot. And that had to change, because now you have to make a decision to be selfish when it comes to your purpose so that it can be fulfilled, and get focused on that alone.
Wow. Wow. Focus. Rid yourself of hindrances and distractions. Wow. Wow. I'm I'm ready to go into this other part. Okay, so I really am trying to, like, I'm ready. No, because we gotta wait. We gotta wait. So let's go back and recap this. So it
Yes.
starts looking inward, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking is that's the first step. Let me see. Let me look inside. Let me kind of feel myself out before I start trying to fill out anything else. Let me figure out what's going on in me.
Yes.
What is
Yes.
going on inside of me? What's going on in the way that I process things, in the way that I deal with things? I got to look inside of me when it comes to the purpose, when it comes to plans, when it comes to any of that stuff. I got to start there. And then number two, you said, then it's time to pay attention to where you want to be. I got to first know that I want to be somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it starts with going inside and clearing out the things that may have been distractions. I mean, distractions kind of all in this from jump to finish. We got to clear distractions. We got
Yes.
to get those things out the way. But I got to know. I got to even know what do I want. That sometimes is the problem. People
Yes.
don't really even know what they want.
That right there. That right there. So you can't even move until you know what you want. And until, what I mean, you can't make a move. And I always say that is that before you make a move, you have, let's just talk about, because I'm a faith person. So from an angle of faith. So a lot of people say walk by faith. So people will take leaps into areas that are not necessarily the leap that they should have made, and then say that they're walking by faith. But let me explain what walking by faith really is. It's when you get a clear word from God.
Come on.
And he tells you a thing, and then you take action on that.
Come
Because
on. Say that again. You get a what?
you get a
What
clear
you get
word
first?
you get a clear word from God.
Like, what's that number one?
Number one.
You get a clear that's what I needed us to stress, because you can't just run past that one, because that's the problem. We run past that one.
Yes, that point, you have to have a clear word. And then once you have your clear word, then you take action. And things that seem impossible become possible real quick.
Girl,
Let me tell you how I know this for myself. When we were making the move from Kansas to Indianapolis, God had told me, he told me very clearly, he said, everybody said, why are you moving? And why are you going to do that now? And they asked a lot of questions. And I said, the only answer I have for them is one, God told me to. But one, I didn't tell a lot of people that I was leaving, because one, you got to move in silence when it comes to your destiny.
Listen, wait, hold on. Don't you be running past stuff. Move in silence. Somebody needs to type that up. Move in silence.
Yes.
Go ahead. Yes. I'm sorry.
You have to move in silence when it comes to your destiny, because when you begin to tell too many people about what you got going on, then too many people have too much to say. And then before you know it, they done curse something that you just now started. So one of that was that was one of the major things that I had to learn as I was navigating through. So anyway, back to the point was that when it was time for me, when I was getting ready to leave, I kept on praying. I said, okay, God, now you told me to leave, but now I needed another set of instructions, because we'll get one set of instruction and then we'll move on that very quickly. But that's not always it. So God had already told me, I want you to leave your church, and I want you to and you're going to move to Indianapolis. Okay. So I could have left my church that day when he gave me that word and moved to Indianapolis. But the timing was so important. So then the next set of instructions was, okay, God, now when do we move?
There you go.
So I said, okay. So then I waited for that answer. I waited day and night until I got a word. And the Lord told me specifically February 1st. Now, let me tell you about February 1st.
Come on,
February
then.
1st in 2014, for anybody that wants to look up the history, it was one of the worst winters that Indianapolis could have ever had at that time. Actually, in fact, on the news, it was showing that people were climbing out of their houses, but God said, leave February 1st. So I said, I didn't care what it looked like or what was coming our way. We was leaving February 1st because God said so. Do you know when we got on the road, the storm went over us? And in fact, the person that was driving us there, because again, we got rid of everything. So I had a friend who was driving us here in Indianapolis to in a rental car. And he stayed with us just a couple of days, and then he drove back to Kansas. When he drove back to Kansas, he got to Kansas just in time before they shut the city down. Shut the city down, because now there was a snowstorm in Kansas. So if I would have left on the day that everybody else said leave, I still would have been stuck in Kansas. This is why you move in silence, because when you start getting too many voices here in your ear, then their voice becomes louder than the voice of God, and then you'll start listening to them, and you'll never move.
Woo, girl, listen.
Tracy, this is
now hold on. We have a church on entrepreneur time.
let me tell you something else about this thing too. When you make a decision to move, now let's just say you decided to go back to the land that you just left. What I found when I went back to visit 3 years later, I went to visit a few friends and a few family members, and what I identified is that their furniture was in the same spot in which I left it 3 years ago. And that messed with my psyche. That messed with because I was like, And a lot of them carried the same mindset and were still stuck. So this is the thing. And this is no shade on anybody or whatever, or their choices. This was all about me thinking, where would I have been if I would have not left on a Friday, excuse me, and left on a Monday instead? So,
that story that was so needed and necessary, because it spoke on so many different levels, only because, like you said, moving in silence, eliminates the noise. Because when you move in silence, then you don't give people room to dictate your destiny.
That's it.
Because that's what will happen. Others will begin to tell you where you should be, how you should be, where you should go, when you should go. And then what happens is it'll start making, how can I put it? The way I see it, it'll start shifting you in unnecessary places. And you'll start getting caught in unnecessary storms. When you let others take you away from clear instructions. Clear instructions. And then not only did you get one set, and oh my goodness, I could have threw something. I don't know where I would have thrown it to. But when you said we get one thing, the Lord is, I hear so many times people get a prophetic word and be like, oh, the Lord said you're going to be a business owner. Oh, glory, 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 glory. And they just start doing whatever. Did you inquire of the Lord to first of all know what business that you're supposed to go into? Because see, I would have asked the prophet personally. Now you just said the Lord said to be a business owner. Can you tell me what business I'm going to be doing? Did he give you that? But if he doesn't give it to the prophet, the key is, you inquire to say what business. That don't mean that because he said you to become a business owner, you just jump into being a business owner and you just figure out whatever you want. Because especially if you don't already have something in front of you to look at. Then number two, you got to know timing. You said that. You said that. You ran past it. You said timing.
Timing, yes.
Because again, we'll think, oh, soon as I hear it, I just go. Because like you
Yeah,
said, could have got that word and said, all right, boom, go now, run. And that was not the right timing.
not at all.
But the timing that did happen looked like the wrong timing. Had
Yes.
you listened to, see, listen,
Okay.
had you listened to others or had others in your ear, the wrong timing would have been the right timing, and the right timing would have been the wrong timing
Yeah,
according to
right.
other people.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Now you would have been all on a path that you were never meant to be on,
That's
in
it.
storms you were never meant to face. I'm speaking to somebody.
Yeah, come
Some
on
of
now.
y'all in storms that you never meant to be in, that you were never
Yes.
designed to be in, places you were never designed to be. But the Lord is so loving and kind and gracious. Guess what? That's why you tuned in today, because He's
Yeah.
giving you a word right now to recalibrate, to reset your life. You're
Yes.
getting another chance to do it over again. Come on now. I felt
Amen.
that.
That's it.
Right
Yeah.
now, you're getting another chance to do it over again. So, guess what? Your mistakes don't define your destiny. Come on now. Your
That's
mistakes do not define your destiny, because whatever He's got on your life, He's got it on your life, and you're going to be able to move forward in this thing. So, listen, okay. So, this is break time because I'm
okay.
ready to go ahead and go in the second part because, see, I'm flowing. And I'm going to have to woo sigh. But this is good. Did I even get to the next one? You said, fuck, I don't know. We did it. We was recapping. Listen, we'll jump back into it in a minute. So
Okay.
what I want to do right here is have her talk about herself when it comes to whatever services she offers. Because see, I don't just have people on here that give you a good word, make you feel good about yourself, and then they can't help to execute the vision. See, my thing is all about not only am I going to inspire you or encourage you or empower you, but guess what? We're going to give you tools to execute the vision. So, can you go ahead and just take a few minutes to kind of explain what it is that you can do for people? How do you help people as a business coach
Yes.
and a kingdom strategist? I love that.
Yeah.
Tell us how you help us.
All right. So how I will help a person or you or whoever in this area. One of the things are my focus is helping people really plan this thing out. Now, I don't necessarily help you build a business plan. We got Tracy for that. But what I do,
Thank you for the plug. Thank you for the plug.
but what I do is I get you inspired. I get you motivated. I get you inspired. I get you awakened, which is the name of my business anyway. MIA Global Solutions. Motivate, inspire, and awaken you. So those areas that are asleep on the inside of you, I coach you right into your greatness, right where you want to be. And so what we do is we build out a map. So one of the things that I do with the majority of my clients is I put them on a 21-day fast. Now this 21-day fast has nothing to do with food, but it has everything. I had a mentor one time tell me this: take 21 days, and every day that you wake up, just seek God for one word. And so I did that for 21 days, and that was transformational for me. So I incorporated that into my coaching services. And so and it has been amazing because what it does is it causes one to get centered with themselves. And then because all of your answers and what you want to do is on the inside of you. So what I do is take you through that 21-day journey as I coach you, and then you identify what's already in you. And I help you pull that thing out so that you can manifest, and then you walk inside what you're supposed to do purposely. So that's pretty much what I do. And so I work with people on a monthly basis. I work with you on a weekly basis, or if you want to retain me. And so then we discuss, at that point in time, pricing and everything like that. But we always begin with a 30-minute free consultation.
Okay. So we had a little technical or having some technical difficulties that's popping up. And I
Oh,
believe I heard you And we heard most of it, I believe, and but it kind of like it was really delayed, then it sped up, delayed, sped up, delayed, sped up. So what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you
Um,
take a minute. I know, enemy that got mad don't want us to go ahead with this because this is some powerful stuff going. It's all right, we're gonna still press through this. Just kind of take a minute to see if things are reset. And I'm gonna probably have you at the end just kind of talk about your services
repeat those
one
things.
more time,
Okay.
just in case somehow some of that got lost within all of this. So I don't know what weird thing just happened, but we're gonna keep moving because you know what? It just is what it is. So
What it is.
it is what it is. Technology, boy, I tell you to get you all jacked up. You know what I'm saying? So now we're gonna take those points again. Look
Okay.
introspective. Pay attention to where you want to be and keep your eyes on that only and focus. Rid yourself of hindrances and distractions. Now, we're going to apply this to the entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Now, because see, we laid the foundation. See, I know y'all was like, I thought this was entrepreneur talk all day long. But guess
Oh,
what? We got to lay some foundation for you before we really begin to dig into it on that perspective.
yeah.
So, when it comes to an entrepreneur, someone that has a ministry, they're an author, they're whatever it is that they feel that they're being led to do, they don't even have to be a full-time entrepreneur. They could do side gigs, as I say. They could be a hustler,
Yeah.
whatever, you know. But nonetheless, they believe they have something inside of them that they need to put out there or something they need to offer. So let's talk about how these principles really strongly apply in the success of any entrepreneur. Let's start with that first one. So what has to happen when someone is saying, I want to be an entrepreneur? When we talk about that first point, look introspectively. What would you say if you was to kind of speak on it from that entrepreneur mindset? What would you kind of say about that?
All right. So when we look at this from an entrepreneur mindset, one of the scriptures that has just became something that's really dear to me is Proverbs 24:27. And just in short, what it's talking about is get your priorities straight. That's all
Mm,
it is. It's simply just saying get your priorities straight. So a lot of times when we walk into entrepreneurship, we want to invest our money in all these things so that it can look glamorous to people. So maybe we might want to buy a big house, maybe we want to buy a big car and all of that. But you got to get all your other stuff together first, because once your business is together, then your business will buy the car, your business will buy the house, right? So now we're looking at, so when you look introspectively, you got to look one, okay, what is it that's in my heart to do? I always say once you when you identify what your passion is, that's the thing that you can do, eat, sleep, and whatever, without even getting paid to do it. You can do it tirelessly. Then there you identify your purpose. I feel like everything that you do, it has to be done purposely, because you will not manifest any kind of fruit. And when I say fruit, you won't manifest any money, you won't manifest any discipline to do it. There's a lot of things. So you got to look inside of yourself and really identify, one, what is my passion? And that's all here. That's all in that heart place. What's my passion? And now what do I got to do to get there? What do I have to do to get there? And then how do I get it done? How do I get it done? So you may need to do some research or what have you. And then not only that, what's within my capacity to do at this moment and at this time in order for me to be successful later?
mm, that's good. That's good. So now let's talk about pay attention to where you want to be and keep your eyes on that only. Now that's getting a little deeper. Now we digging into some things right there from that entrepreneur perspective. Now I done looked inside. I done all that what you just said. Now where do we kind of get a little shaky at? This is where I say this is where I believe this is where we get a little shaky because
Yeah,
now I got to pay attention to where I want to be and then
absolutely.
keep my eyes on that and that only. So let's talk about that from the entrepreneur perspective.
Well, paying attention would be in this regard is paying attention to where you plant. because now you
Mm.
have an understanding of what business you're doing, where you're going, what have you. You've looked introspectively. So hopefully now at this point, you're now taking some action to get this thing
Mm.
going. So some action would be, step one would be probably to register your business, or, to do things like that, build your plan, get things in order just to really get launched, what have you. And then once you get some things in order, you got to pay attention to where you plant. Because what I've identified with a lot of entrepreneurs is that now I'm excited about starting the business. I've started the business, and then now all of a sudden this business hasn't grown yet at all. And I'm getting really anxious and ready to start another business. So you want to pay attention to where you plant, because you have to pay attention to, is this plant growing before I try to plant somewhere else?
Oh,
Does
that's
that make
good.
sense?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
So that's what happens a lot of times, is that people don't pay attention to where they're planting. And so now if I've advertised to you and I've marketed to you that I'm a business coach, then I can't come over here and tell somebody that I'm doing something else, because it confuses who I'm targeting, the market that I'm targeting. It's like, if I want to plant this over here, if I want to plant corn, I need to expect it to grow within 3 months. You get what I'm saying? If I want to plant, let's say, a bamboo tree, for an example, expect it not to blossom for another 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the thing: paying attention to what you have planted, and how long is it going to take for that thing to grow, and then that gives you the time to build a strategy as that thing is growing. Pay attention.
Hey, I love it. That's good. You said some key things that I have to speak on, because a lot of times what we see now, there are people, and I have to speak, and I'm gonna have to kind of play the, we say, devil's advocate a little bit,
Okay.
because I got to speak to that person that has multiple gifts, because I'm a multi-gifted person,
Yes.
and
Yes.
therefore I'm gonna probably plant multiple seeds. But what I've learned to do is say, okay, God, I know you've given me all these things to do. Just like you got multiple titles, and there's
Yeah.
some other side of you that we've discussed that's to be birthed.
Yes.
But there's timing for each thing. See,
Yes.
so that doesn't mean that you can't be an author and a business coach, because
Right.
I'm both. That doesn't
Yes.
mean you can't be a talk show host. And she's not saying that.
Right.
But you can't say, today I'm a business coach and I spent a week on that. And then tomorrow I'm going to say, now I'm this and I spent a week on that. And now I'm this and I spent a week on that. And you didn't market nothing. You didn't get nothing going. Your poor little plant didn't even bust out the seed. You got a seed in the ground. You didn't water nothing, didn't let no sunshine hit it. No, nothing. Just nothing.
Yes.
Because some of us get too excited or too anxious, or even too there's another word I can't, it's not coming up now, but we're gonna use those two words: excited or anxious about the multi levels of gifts, or the many gifts that's within, that we just want to bloop 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 bloop. And it's
Yes.
like,
Yes.
gotta see when it's time, because everything that I am didn't all come out at once.
Yes.
It didn't all come out at once. It came out in layers. And then somehow this thing just worked all together and it looks right. I don't even know how it happened. All of a sudden, it looks right. It all gelled together like a good old cake.
Yes.
It all worked together.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And I don't know how, but because I'm like, all right, in this season, I'm doing this. I don't know why, but I know I got these other things in me. But let me go ahead and just do this, because I haven't been told to move in these yet. Then when
Yeah.
the next season came for me to move in the other thing, that doesn't mean that other thing just totally went away. I didn't know how it was going to be used, but it wasn't to be used. And so it and then right now everything just gelled together. And I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, Lord, okay, now I see how it all worked together. But we can't be so anxious and overly excited to just pop out everything that's in us at once, because something's going to not get the nourishment that it needs. Something's going to
That's
fall through the
key.
cracks.
That's
Something's
key.
not going to get what it's really due in order to produce what it's meant to produce.
That's so key. That is so key. Well, just to kind of touch on that, this is the I think there's some things sometimes that entrepreneurs miss inside of that. I think it's okay to be multifaceted. Definitely. Like you said, you and I are both that. But this is the thing. I think oftentimes what we see repeatedly with entrepreneurs, at least people that I've worked with, is that they're scared to relinquish control. Or to relinquish any type of information that relates to the business in order to build the business, because they're scared that somebody just might steal the idea, that might have more money, that might have whatever the issue is. But one of the things that I learned from a speaker, his name is Ubon King. He's a Nigerian, well-known motivational speaker who started a security company and then retired very early in his like late 30s or what have you, and decided that after he built that empire, he was going to tell other people how to build theirs. So one of the things that he shares is, in order for, he said, you may have this level or this mountain, you might get to this mountain of success or what have you. And then all of a sudden what happens, and we all have experienced it in entrepreneurship, you get to a moment of success and it's like, oh, I'm doing good, I'm manifesting, woo, and then all of a sudden it looks like everything goes down. And so what he talks about is how you maintain that momentum. And in order to maintain that momentum inside of your multifaceted self, is now you have to build men. So that means now you got to train people in the area of your craft, impart your vision inside of them, and then they stay connected to what the vision is, and they continue to build that vision and expand it for you. And then what happens? Now you're able to build a bridge to the next mountain of success in order to accomplish the next things that you want to do. So we have to, and so again, and this is about building strategy. As I was saying, if you want corn, you got to plant it, and then you're going to get it within 3 months. But if you want yam, you got to plant it, and you're going to have to wait a whole year. So this is, if you want a bamboo tree, you got to plant it, and you got to wait 5 years before you ever see it. But what's interesting about the bamboo tree is this. I love the bamboo tree. And it's simple. Is that once you plant it, you got to put the dirt over it. You got to water it, and you got to wait. Right. And so this is the season when we talked about the moving in silence. We talked about all of that. And this is the time when people don't believe in you. That's the dirt. They're throwing it on you. They're throwing it on you. And they're throwing it on you. And they have all these things to say about what you got going on while their furniture is still in the same position. Okay. So they got all these things to say. So now all of a sudden, it looks like to everybody else you became an overnight success. But really, the dirt that they threw on you was nutrients to your seed. And then all of a sudden you sprouted up like 90 feet tall, because that's what a bamboo tree does. It sprouts up within 5 years, 90 to 100 feet tall instantaneously after it has germinated in the ground. And so we have to understand that to everything that we do, there is a process to it. But and if we're willing to go the process and continue to work on the vision or the idea that we have, you best believe you're not doing it for naught. You're going to be a success, and it's going to happen overnight to other people when you know you were sitting under that dirt for about 5 years.
Come on, listen. Listen, you done sat here and read my little life, honey. Listen. My husband talks about the bamboo tree so much. It's funny when you start talking about that. I know where she's going with this one, because he always talks about that, the story of that, and the same thing you just said. Always talks about that, because there's that season, 5 years. It just looks like you putting in the work.
Yes.
Wait a minute, girl. Wait, don't do that. You putting in the work. You doing what you're supposed to be doing. You called to this thing, and you toiling, and you toiling, and you toiling, and you working, and you praying, and you going in secret meetings with folks, and it's like they not manifesting, and you go down this road or that road, or and it's like, Don't nobody see me. I know what he's placed inside of me. Don't nobody see what's inside of me. When, Lord? When,
Yeah.
Lord? When are
Yeah.
they going to see what's inside of me? When is it going to happen for me, Lord? Not because I want to be out there just to be out there. It's because I know that what you've given me is going to be a blessing to the body. It's going to be a blessing to the kingdom. But the dirt, the ridicule,
That's
the
it.
embarrassment,
Yeah.
all of it. Just we said
Yeah.
nutrient. I'm feeding off of it. I'm growing from it. And
That's
then
it.
boom, year 5. I just come out the ground like what?
Boom.
What's just happened?
Yeah.
Boom,
Yes.
boom. And everybody like overnight success. It's like, yeah, to your eyes.
Yes.
To your natural eyes, it was an
Yeah.
overnight success. But in the spirit, this thing been working for 5 years. This thing has been cultivated. This thing is
Okay.
going, I've been going through this thing. It might be an overnight to the natural, but trust and believe. This ain't overnight.
That right there.
That part, as they say,
Yes.
that part.
That part.
So then
Exactly.
let's quickly talk about that focus, and then we'll, wrap up. So focus. Now, talking to the entrepreneur, we spend some time on that middle one because I think that middle one is that one that gets us hung up a little bit. So we have to kind of minister to them on that one. But once you've done all this, now it's time to focus or rid yourself of hindrances and distractions. Now, they do kind of say go hand in hand with the other one, but I think there's another layer to that. I
There
just
is.
feel there's another layer to that. So if you can kind of talk to the entrepreneur on how does this apply on that next level?
So you know what? Great, great, great question. One thing we have to understand is that focus, there's layers to focus. There's layers to
Yeah.
it because there's layers to what you want to do, period. There's layers to it. So you might have divided and conquered over here, but haven't learned how to really be deliberate over here, and really,
Oh,
so understanding that there's layers to this thing. So one, you're like, okay, now I've made the move. I've left I've left Kansas and I've moved to Indianapolis. Okay. And then you're like, well, I've done a great thing. It's kind of like the kid that comes and draws you the picture after you done told him to sit down 50 million times and like, well, mom, I did a great thing. I drew you a picture, this kind of, and so you're going to God and you're saying that kind of thing. Well, God, I did what you said to do. And now I've
come
started
on.
the business. And so, but then what happens is we become fearful sometimes inside of the journey. We get
Oh,
we get scared. And as entrepreneurs, we get a little fearful because sometimes as entrepreneurs, we need approval. Those personality types that are entrepreneurs have similar personality types. We want approval a lot of times inside of what we're doing.
come
And so
on.
now we go searching for people to endorse us, searching for people to help us manifest what it is that we are supposed to manifest. And then those people are like, oh, I believe in you in the beginning, but then after so long, they can no longer work with you because they don't have the capacity to contain what you have.
Come on.
Now, that doesn't make it necessarily a bad thing because they don't have the capacity, but what it means is that you need to move inside of what God has told you to do. And then once the student is ready, the teacher will come and everything will then blossom, right? So now the focus is just continue to stay focused on the last thing that God told you or the last idea that you had, that the inspired idea that you had. Stay focused on it, continue to work on that thing, continue to cultivate that thing until it's
The
time to
word was
transition. Yeah,
until.
until it's time to transition. So that in the midst of you focusing on that a great idea, you might get a little discouraged because it looks like nothing's working for you. Let me tell you, when I got here, I had and after a few months, holes were working its way in my shoes because I only had a few pairs. I went from over 100 pairs of shoes to like one to three pairs, I guess. I don't know. So, you know what I'm saying? So, your focus has to stay. So even when it looks like you ain't got no money, It looks like you ain't got no soap. You got to make a decision. Do I wash my clothes with this soap or do I wash my body with the soap? Whatever, because the struggle gets real when you have to move inside of your purpose. Sometimes you might have to be broke for 3 years straight, living off of $60 a month, trying to wonder, okay, God, how are all these miracles happening around me, but still staying focused, and nobody understands. Or you might have to put some dirty clothes on because you have to again decide, do I wash my body with this? Do I wash my child's body with this? Or do I wash the clothes? You might have to make some decisions. And again, people may not be able to see the jewel that's on the inside of you yet because those people are not meant to see it. So when we lose focus, we now get discouraged because we are expecting something from people that they can't give us in the first place.
Come on.
So when God transitions you out of a thing, he's not telling you to now go inside of something else for somebody else to tell you what to do, because now he is giving you the instructions. Build your platform. Build what God has told you to do. Move inside of that and don't worry about what other people have to say or what they think. Because at the end of the day, the same people that are coming against you will celebrate you later.
Come on.
And if they don't celebrate you, it don't matter, because the word says that God will make your enemies your footstool. So as an entrepreneur, you just got to keep your eyes on that prize. Whatever it is, keep your eyes on it. And with every step of the way, as you continue to make things ready, then all of a sudden, people will now be attracted to what you're doing. And they will come freely willing to help you accomplish that you want to accomplish. So you have to just stay focused on this piece right here, and don't try to take your old self and put yourself inside your old self inside your new situation. But as you're in your new situation, as an entrepreneur, as a spiritual leader, as whatever it is that you are, you have to be willing to allow yourself to be shedded. You have to allow yourself to be to die to what you have known, the old system that wasn't working for you, that you're trying to fit into this new place, because that old stuff doesn't fit into this new place. And let me tell you one more thing. Inside of that, when you get focused, when you lose focus, and we'll go back to focus. When you lose focus, you then start linking up with the wrong people and the wrong things. And so now they've been made a part of your season and a part of your story that you shouldn't. Tracy touched on that. You end up in storms that you could have avoided if you just would have stayed focused. So staying focused, one, keeps you out of trouble. Mm-hmm. And it keeps you moving right towards your purpose, regardless of what is being thrown your way. It keeps you there. It really just keeps you there. And then before you know it, you are shining, and you didn't even know that you were capable of doing so, because you stayed there. So it's important that you just stay focused, because your manifestation is going to happen inside of that. It's not going to happen inside of what you expect people to do or what you expect people to believe. You have to really stand strong and believe in yourself as you walk toward that you want to accomplish.
You done have me speechless now. I'm completely speechless. Oh. It took everything within me not to sit here and bust out in a whole holler and a scream like I was in church somewhere.
Oh, wow.
You don't know what edge I'm like, okay, she's pushing me on edge. She's pushing me on edge. And I'll tell you why when we get off of here. You won't, that it ain't for this air right now. It ain't for the people. Okay. I'll tell you why when we log off. Yeah, because you spoke to me. You don't even know. Yeah, you don't even know. You spoke so much to me in that last bit flow that you just spoke prophetically, just without a breath. You spoke to me so deeply. Yeah, I'll give you all that later. We'll talk about that a little later. But my goodness, y'all, what? There's nothing left to. I know. Look, we got. I'm literally sitting on the edge of my chair. Our comment. Speechless. Yeah. Speechless. Because this is a much needed moment. The words that flowed through you, much needed to the body of believers, especially that have a call on their lives, They know there's greater to be done. They want to operate in kingdom principles, in kingdom authority, but they don't know how. And what let's go back to the beginning. Change the way you think. Change the way you think.
Yeah.
I gotta stay right there. Change the way you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we can produce what we want to see.
You can.
In these steps, in the way that she broke it down, the way that she ministered it. This is how you're gonna get there.
Yeah.
This is how you're gonna get there. So if you missed any of this, you better catch the replay. That's all I'm gonna tell you right now. You better catch the replay.
Okay.
You better go back and watch it again. You're gonna be able to watch the replay on Facebook, watch the replay on YouTube, my YouTube channel. But we also have podcasts. So wherever you like to listen to your favorite podcast, you can definitely catch it, because this is some stuff that I believe it's like that meat that you can feast off of in order to get you through. You said something key about fear in the midst, when that fear, because like you did, like, look, God, I did what I was supposed to do. And then you know, you're like, hey, I made the move, because we think that that was the big accomplishment. We
Yeah.
don't even have a clue.
And if I could respectfully just say something right there,
Uh-huh.
Tracy,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you have to also understand, as an entrepreneur and just as a servant, period, in whatever capacity that you are, is that your service that you're providing is not for you anyway. It's for the people. It's for the people
Absolutely.
that you're serving. And so just knowing that you might be hanging on a cross, for a moment. You might be hanging on a cross for a moment and being crucified, and people having all types of things to say about you in the midst of what your leaps and what risk you're taking as an entrepreneur. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, your sacrifice is going to be worth it, because you're there. Your assignment is the people in the first place, in whatever capacity you're operating in. And then you just so happen to be able to feast on that fruit later. And
Mm.
that's an awesome thing. That's an awesome thing. You may not see it. And one more thing I would say is this, is that now when you stay focused, you don't have to look for your tribe. Your tribe will find you.
Absolutely. Something you said, I had to like sit on it for a real quick. You said it, and I was like, let me try to jot it down when she's talking to you. Stop. So you're like, your assignment is not even for you.
Yeah.
It's for the people.
For the people.
And then we'll get to feast off of, we'll get to eat of the fruit of the labor. We'll get to partake. Don't worry about it. You will feast.
Yeah.
You definitely will feast. But
Yeah.
when you first understand that this is not about you in the first place,
Yeah.
what has been given to you is for someone else.
That right there.
It's for kingdom building. It's
building.
kingdom purposes.
That's it.
It's for you to dominate the 7 mountains of influence.
You better.
You said, don't do it. Don't do it.
You better talk.
You said what? You said, don't go there. That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show. I want to, because I know a lot of people that talk about that, and I'm like, I would love to pull a show together where we get multiple people that really break down those 7 mountains of influences and how we, as the body of Christ, the people, are supposed to dominate in those areas.
I'm telling you, we have to dominate.
First assignment is, and our pastor, call him my dad, he's such a great person. He talks about that. He said, the first thing and the only thing that we've ever been called to do is to dominate.
That's
it. He
said,
when did that ever change? He just said it Sunday. He's like, when did that change? And it's like, it didn't. That's the thing. We did. That the command didn't, to dominate. And that's where we lost it. We forgot that. We start submitting ourselves to some other stuff instead of dominating in the areas that we're supposed to dominate in. We are supposed to have kingdom seats in the 7 mountains of influence. We are supposed to take kingdom seats. We're supposed to be positioned.
That's it.
We're supposed to be so well seated in those places. We get nervous in some of them. That's the problem. We get
Yeah. Yes.
entertainment, media, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not about to start breaking it down. I'm not about to do it. Not today. No, no. But we
Yes.
get nervous.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we belong in the church. We belong the four walls, and
Mm-mm. Not at
you're
all.
not influencing. You're not doing anything.
Not at all. That's why you still
That's the
see.
place to get refueled, and you're just coming together with people of like minds to get refueled and encouraged and strengthened. That's not where the authority. That's not where the change happens. That's
That.
just where you come for the fuel, so you can go out there and make the change. In among all the things that you so scary to get out there in, come on
Yes.
now. So yeah,
Yes.
let me shut up because I was just gonna
That.
keep talking about that. Yeah, thank you. Oh,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate so much for being on here with us. For you who are watching, her information is scrolling across the bottom. You can reach her. And I was trying to info at miagsolutions.com.
Mm-hmm.
So did I say that wrong?
Nope, you said it right.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry. Because you're trying to read it real quick. So yeah, you can catch it across the bottom. If you're listening to my podcast through one of the podcast platforms, all of our information will definitely be in the description. So make sure when you listen, there you can click and see the description of our podcast, and you want to get in touch with either one of us, you definitely can do that. Oh my gosh, this has been amazing. You've
Absolutely.
already said your last words of close and all that. Well, I want you, unless you have something else, I don't know what else you're about to throw at us
I do want to
to
say
make
this
us
one
not
thing.
breathe.
I will say this is that the enemy to success is success. So you have to really remember that once you hit the peak of success, that you're still not finished. It's not over. There's still more people to serve, and it's not finished until that last breath you breathe. So just remember that and continue to stay focused and be as long as you focus on your inability, you will never see that you have the ability to have mobility. So again, Tracy, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be on your show as we get to the root with Tracy Palmer.
Entrepreneur Talk Edition.
I
I
love
love it. I love it. Thank you
it.
so much. Thank you. This was good. If y'all didn't get nothing, y'all lying. That's all I'm saying. Y'all lying. Y'all lying. This was, and like I always say, um, it's time. The time is now. Time is right now to live your best life, your God ordained life, the life that God has purpose for you to live. The time is now.
Yeah.
Don't waste time. Don't waste time. Live your best life. It's for you to live. It's for you right now. You don't have to wait on anything else. You don't have to wait on anybody else. Guess what? He's giving you the green light. I don't know who needs to hear that, but he's giving you the green light to live the abundant life because he said, I come that you might have life and
Yeah.
that abundantly. That's not for the sweet by and by and on the next time. That's not for later on. Right now, you can live the best life he intended for you to live
Yeah.
while you're doing things the kingdom way. So just remember that while you're doing things the kingdom way, you don't have to live in struggle forever. You don't have to live in lack forever. You don't have to be without forever. You can fulfill your purpose and then also enjoy the fruits of your labor. So that's what this is about, encouraging you to live your best life. Always have that in mind. I will live my best life and I'm going to do it right now because tomorrow's not promised. So I can't wait and say I'm going to live it tomorrow. I'm going to live it now. So again, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Entrepreneur Talk, and we'll see you again next time. Take care and be blessed. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode of Getting to the Root with Tracy Palmer. If so, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel in order to be notified when a new episode is posted. You can also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or go to my website at gttrwithtracypalmer.com. Until next time, take care and be blessed.